Python only you have to use a while loop, right? And now the point, let's suppose first of all you have to understand the syntax as well, okay, how you would be able to use a for loop in your program. So this is a very pretty simple syntax. And what is actually is it? So if you want to use a for loop, just you have to write the for first of all, okay. This is a keyword, guys, okay, just like in case of conditions you have used a if keyword, right? And now this is a variable I have used. And now this is the pretty thing in case of for loop is, so this particular variable what I'm using here, this particular variable define at multiple number of times how many elements you have in your sequence.
காலையில
Okay, so let me mute.
So நீ 7 o'clock and நம்ம பண்ணிடலாம்.
And now that's good. Okay, you have forced me to mute yourself first, because otherwise one of you always unmute yourself without a reason. So what I have done, so this is a for, okay, keyword what I'm using in my statement. After that I have used while, okay. And why I am used a while here, so how much element I have in sequence, okay. The sequence could be anything. It could be a list, tuple, string, it could be sat, and the dictionary as well, okay. So when this particular sequence, when this particular line or statement will execute, so while variable will be defined at the equivalent number of times, okay. And now we will always use a in operator in case of for loop, okay. And what it will do for you, first of all, it will take a first element of your sequence and assign that element inside the variable. And once it will do so, it will execute the body of for loop as well, okay. You know very well, if you like to define any body of any block, so just you have to put a colon. After that you have to follow the indentation, okay, of a specific number of tabs on the spaces. And now this is a one flow chart to understand the loop, okay. Before understand the chart as well, as I'm gonna give you the one example to understand this. Let's take an example, okay. So you want to store 5 name of users, right? So if you like to store 5 name of users, you can simply use multiple method for that. The first thing, you can simply create a one list, okay, and inside the list I can simply store multiple names, right? Now you want to take 5 names from a users, then for that just you can simply use this method, names dot append, okay. So what happened if I'm gonna use the append method of the list here, so it will add a one value inside the names, okay. Or instead of using a different variables, I can simply call the input function inside the append, okay. And here I'm gonna write enter your name, okay. Hopefully this is a very familiar syntax I have used. Just I have called a append function, what we have already used multiple times. After that, inside the append function I have called a one more input function, and the functionality of the input function will take an input from a users, right? Let's suppose if I'm gonna execute this, okay, at the end of the eventually I'm gonna print the names as well. So when I'm gonna execute this shell, just look at this, I'm gonna execute, and now you will get the answer as well, okay. So let's suppose if I'm gonna copy and paste it multiple times, so what happened? So the point is, if you want to take a multiple name from a user, so what I have done, so I have repeat the same type of statement at multiple times. So how many times I have repeat 5 times, so yeah, that's 5 times. So what happened, I'm gonna execute this statement. Now it will take 5 number of names from you and assign all the names inside the names. Just look at this, Python and the Mayank and the Manish and the Praswal. So that's a way, okay, you can simply define, just look at this. So it will take 5 number of names from you, okay. And once it will take a names, so always it will append your names inside the names, and at the end of the shell it will print the total number of names. So what I have done, so this is a very basic program I have created here, and to create this program I have used many number of lines, and just you are able to see I have repeated multiple times the same number of lines, okay. And now to, instead of using this method, just you can simply use the for loop here, okay, because for loop will give you the method, just you can simply iterate the same type of code at multiple times, okay. So this is a flow chart of the for loop, guys, okay. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain the same example along with the loop as well. So in this for loop, what I'm gonna do, just first of all you have to understand the for each item in sequence, okay. Let's take an example. You have a one sequence, and the sequence could be anything. It could be a string, it could be a list, okay. How many number of elements you have stored into the same element. Okay, so first of all, it will check the first element of your sequence. Okay, once it will take the first element, so it will execute the body of 4. Okay, because just look at this, this is a last item reach. Okay, when it will exit your loop, once you will get the last element of your sequence, so then on that point it will exit your loop. Okay, if that particular element is not a last element, then it will execute the body of 4 again and again. Just look at this, it will again execute the same body and take the next element from your iterator object. And what is actually a iterator? So that's why I have used a one term as iteration. And when you will create a one iterator object here, so when you will call the same object at multiple times, so that particular object will always give you the next value from the sequence. Okay, you will not be able to repeat the same value in case of iterator, so always it will give you the next value. So let me give you the one example to understand the for loop. Hopefully you understand the flow chart of the loop. So let me repeat one more time. So first of all, it will take a first element from your sequence. If the element is last, on that point it will exit your loop. Otherwise, it will repeat again and again the same loop here. So let me clear this notations. After that, we will move forward. And that's good. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do here. So this is a one basic example I have written, guys. Before that, I like to clear the output. I always forget, my bad. So this is a one Python for loop, right? And what I have done, just look at this. This is a list of numbers, and now I have stored multiple numbers into the numbers variable. And now this is a very pretty forward program. And now what I have done, this is a number of list. Either you can simply check out the data type of this structure. And what's the target to create this program? Just we have to store the sum of all numbers, right? And now, yeah, this is a very basic program. Or before understanding this program, either we can also create a one more program, okay, to understand the same concept, just this one. Okay, the point, or either you can simply take a one different example. So let me take a one easiest example to understand. First of all, let's suppose this is a name you have stored, or either this is a training. Okay, training name. And what's actually a training name? So I'm gonna put a Python programming, or a Python. Yeah, this is not an automation actually. Yeah, this is a programming. Okay, just what I have done. So I have stored a training name is a Python programming. Okay, just I have assigned this variable. In the second shell, what I want to do, let's suppose you want to print this particular P from here. After that, you like to print Y, T, H, O, N. Again and again, you want to print the same thing. So for that, you can simply do the one method. So this is a first method you can simply use here. Just use the training name. After that, you can simply print the index number, right? So this is a one way, or either you can simply use this way. So what happened? So it will always give you the next index, right? When you will use this method, and you have to use a print as well. If you are trying to print multiple statement of this, so always you have to use a print function for that. I think I have to repeat the same program. Might be that's better. And now what it will do for you, only it will give you the always next index until 4. Just look at this, what I have done. So it will give you the P, Y, T, H, O, because I have called a different number of index in each statement of the Python statement. Okay, so this is the first method. The second method, to do the same thing, okay, you can create an iterator object. What is iterator object? So this is a one inbuilt function. In case of Python, it will return a one iterator object. Just we have used a different data structure. Okay, we have used some different inbuilt function, just like in a type, just like we have used the ID as well. But in case of iterator, what it will give you? So it will give you the iterator object. So let me show you. So this is a training name. Okay, and once it will return something, so you have stored that particular value inside the X. Just look at the type of the X here, and just I have told you that was a string iterator, right? And now what's the meaning of the string iterator? When you will call this function, okay, it will print this particular message. Okay, this is a object ID in case of memory. Just remove this particular thing. Okay, I would like to print the value from the iterator. So this is a one method you have to always call from using the next. Okay, so this is a method you have to use to print the values of the iterator object. And what's the behavior of the iterator? This is a very important point you have to understand. in case of iterator, when you will call a iterator again and again, it will always give you the next value instead of the previous one. Okay, so there's no way to reset your iterator. Always you have to create it again. Always you have to define your iterator again to get the previous value from there. So what I'm going to do, just I will execute this shell. I'll look at this. So first of all, it will give you the P from there. Okay, because if you're going to check out a very basic thing, so either you can also, to understand this, I'm going to create a one very simple notebook. And what I'm going to do, I will write the some indexes number. Okay, this is just an example to understand. So first of all, what I'm doing, so I have write a normal code here. So first of all, it will fetch the 0 index. After that, it will fetch the it will fetch the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, okay, and so on. So now the thing is, when I'm gonna execute this particular next function here, so just look at this, it will give you the P first of all, okay. When I will execute the same function again, okay, just I have just copy and paste, okay, I just, you can simply check it out, the number of 6. When I'm gonna execute the same function, it will give you the next statement. Or either if I'm gonna execute the same function in the same shell, now just look at the number, have execute, the statement has been become 8. So it will give you the T, just execute again and again. Now you will get the H here, now O, N, and you will get the space as well. Just look at this, this is a space. It always give you the next, okay. So, and once it will reach the last point, just look at this, double M, I, N, or G, and now it will reach on the last point. And now at the last, it will give you the error. What will be the error? What was the error? So that was the error is stop iteration because you have reached the limit of your item or number of sequence. Please stop the iteration. Okay, now it will not give you the any value from the iterator object because it will always, it's already written all the values. So this is a normal manual method to fetch the all values from the iterator object. Okay, and do this particular part in case of automation, just that's why you are using a for loop here. Okay, so to understand the for loop, so just we can simply create the same concept using the for loop here. And what I'm gonna do, just let's just look at this. So I will use a for keyword for that. Okay, you know very well what I have told you. You can simply type any variable name. Just I have told you the syntax of for loop, just for and the variable and the in operator. So I will use the same method. Either you can simply use the X here or the I, it's your choice. So I'm gonna use a X. After that, what I have done, I have used a membership operator that will become a N in, okay. And then from where I would like to fetch my values. So I'm gonna use the same variable training name. Just done this particular thing. Once we have done this, now you can simply print the value of the X. So now automatically what it will do for you, so it will fetch the first value from the training name. Okay, what will be the first value? That will become P. Okay, once it will print the P, so it will again check, fetch the next value, then it will fetch the Y, T, H, O, and so on. It will fetch the last value until G. Okay, and always print the next element. Just look at this. So that's why you will get the whole Python programming in next statements. So this is a loop where I have execute. So I have execute my loop at a different number of times. Either instead of this particular string, I can also use a different list here to iterate my for sequence using this particular operators. Okay. Now, so let me execute this next. So to understand the for loop, this is a one more program you have to understand, guys. Now this is a list of numbers, right? And now I have stored multiple numbers inside a one list, okay? And now this will become a sequence for the for loop, okay? This will be, it will iterate over the list. And what does it mean? So I have used a numbers, right? So what it will do for you? So first of all, it will fetch the first value from the numbers. So inside the well, you will find out the first value it will fetch, that will be 6. Okay, and what it will do along with 6, it will add the 6 inside the sum. Just look at this. Or instead of using this method, that was all, you can also use this assignment operator. This will become a nice idea to use. You know very well, this is a one increment assignment operator. Okay, and now what it will do for you, so it will always assign the well inside the sum. And the initial value I have used 0, so that's a very pretty simple program. It will add all the elements inside the sum, and at the end of this particular shell, it will print the value of the sum. Just square forward and you will get the 48. And how many times you have executed the for loop, how many times this particular loop has been executed, just you can simply check it out using this method as well. If you would like to print the value, okay, just look at this. So what I have done, just I have print well and then well. So it will print the value of the well again and again, and now that's how it's look. So first of all, it will fetch the 6 here. After that, 5, 3, 8, 4, 2, 1, 11. At the end of this shell, it will print the value. The sum is 48. Why it will print the multiple statement here? Because we have written this statement inside the for loop, and a for loop has been executed a specific number of times. How many elements you have in your sequence? Okay, so how many elements I have in sequence, you can also identify using the len function. Okay, just look at this. So how many elements you have? 9. So just you can also count these number of items, you will find out the 9. So that's how the for loop is work inside the Python programming. Okay, there's a multiple doubts. Okay, and now there's a one guy, Prime X, please don't do this type of things. If you have some doubt, just you can simply drop your doubts here. Okay, so let me move forward to the range function. Okay, so this is a one more inbuilt function you will find out inside the Python programming, guys, and why we are using range function. And now this is a very pretty function we have used. Let's suppose, took an example, you want to execute your loop at a specific number of times. Okay, so for that, there's a one method you can simply use. So let's suppose I would like to execute my loop 100 times or 10 times. So I can simply create a data. Inside the data, I can simply store multiple numbers. Okay, just 1, 2, or whatever you want to print. So that's how you can simply do. And now how many elements I have stored? 3, or either I can simply verify using this. Just look at this. So that's what happens. So I have stored 10 number of elements inside the data. Okay, so what I want to do, I would like to execute my program. Just I can simply execute for I, or the var, you can simply choose any variable name. Okay, but that particular variable should not be a keyword or already a function name. You have to choose a variable, which type of variable name you can simply choose, right? So there is some sort of rules to define your variables, and we have already discussed about these rules. So for var inside the data, and what I would like to do, so if you like to print multiple name, or if you like to print hi multiple time, just you can simply use hi from such. So I didn't use the var variable. That's cool. Okay, that's not mandatory to use this variable. Why I have used this statement, and now this statement only repeat your loop at 10 times. Why? Because you have 10 element inside the data. So when first time the loop will execute, when first time this statement will execute, inside the var you will find out there's a 1 is initiated. Once the second time will loop execute, you will find out the 2 inside the var, and 1 inside the var, and 1 again, 2, blah 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 blah. So just when I will execute this, just look at this, you will get the same statement 10 times. Why you will get the same statement 10 times? Either you can also print the value. Just look at this. Okay, this is a var, and now first time it will print the 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Just the same sequence what we have written inside the data. And now the point is, if you like to execute your program 10 times or 12 times, 100 times, 1000, 1 lakh times, so you don't have to initialize a list for that. There's a one inbuilt function you will find out, name as range, and the range function, it always return in one specific sequence of numbers using a multiple method. So now the point is how you would be able to use a range in case of loop, right? So when you will use a range function, so first of all, you have to understand, sometimes let's suppose if you would like to initialize a list or a tuple or any method, if you're going to use a normal range function, okay, inside the range I have defined 10. Okay, and what do you want to do? You like to do to print the value of specific numbers. So just you will get this particular method. Okay, you will get nothing here. Okay, what I have done, just I have used a range here, and along with range, just I have assigned a one argument inside the range. Or either you can simply pass look like this. What happened? Just you will get the 0 to range, because the point is range will take a 3 arguments. Okay, and now all 3 arguments will be optional. Now the first one, when you will pass a one single argument inside the range function, so that particular argument will become the end of your range. When you have passed the 10 here, so it always print the number of sequence 0 to 9. Okay, this is a one actually object. Okay, if you like to convert this object into the numbers, just you have to initialize the data structure. So what I have done, so I have initialized the range inside the list. So what does it mean? So now it will return a actual value. Just look at this. Okay, the earlier one, what I have used directly, I have used the range function. Once you have used this particular method, so it will not print the numbers, just it will give you the one object, because you didn't mention the which data type, and you will get the 10 numbers. So when what I have done into the next statement, so I have initialized the range function inside the list. This is another function, and it will create a one list here. And just look at this, it will start from 0 to 9. Okay, if you're gonna count all the numbers, if you're gonna count, this is the 10 numbers. Okay, but always it will start from 0, and it will give you the range until the one minus, just you can simply minus 1 from here, because this is the index you will get. Okay, these are the number of elements, and the all elements have been become 10. If you like to store somewhere, just you can simply store as well. Okay, how many elements it will return, or what are the elements it will return for you, just you can simply check it out using this function. What I have done, just look at this. So these are the 10 number of elements, because the numbers are started from 0, that's why it will end until 9. Okay, this is the first method to use a range function. The second method, either if you're gonna pass a two number of arguments there, okay, the first argument will become the starting point of your range, and the last argument will become the end part of your range. Okay, so this is a another method to do that. Let me execute. Just look at this. The earlier one, when I have passed the 10 here, so it will return a range 0 to 9. Okay, when you will pass 2 to 8, so it will return a range 2 to 7. Okay, you know very well, it always give you the n minus 1, and it will always start from the starting point. If you will pass a 4 here, so it will give you the 4 to 8. My bad, 4 to 7. So that's how the range function is work. Okay, it will depend and which how many arguments you have passed. According to the number of arguments, it will change the behavior of range function here. Okay, and now this is a very important function you will always use inside the Python programming, because sometimes you have to define the range function in case of loop as well. Let's suppose if you like to execute your loop 100 times, so you don't have to initialize any list here, just directly you can simply use a range function. And if you will pass a 3 number of arguments, now the behavior of range function will again change, and now the last argument will become the step or the difference between the range. So what's the difference? So first of all, it will print 2. After that, what is the difference between the each and every element? So the default value of the 3 is 1. Okay, just look at this. It will give you the 2 to 19 values, right? Because they have used a 1 difference. If you will define the difference is 2, so what does it mean? Now, in this time, it will not return 3, 5, or the 7 or the 9. It will always take a 2 difference between the numbers, and just look at the difference. 2, 4, 6, 8, it always take a 2 difference between the numbers. If you're gonna put 3 here, so just look at the difference. Now the difference between each element will become 3. So that's how the range function is work, guys. If you like to print 1000 numbers, just you can simply use the same method, range and 1000, and now it will return 0 to 999, right? Just look at this. Instantly it will return 0 to 999 values, and now that's how you can simply create a list of numbers. And now how you can simply use a range function, okay, inside your program. So let's go back to the earlier example, what we were discussing at the initial time. And what was the example? That's okay, hopefully you remembered, right? And now in this example, what I have done, so if you like to take 5 name from a user, so I have repeated this statement 5 times. Okay, this is not a actual way to create this program. So if you want to enhance the programming, so just you can simply do remove all the values. Only one time you have to initialize the list. After that, yes, you can simply use for I, or that you can simply define any value. Okay, num in range function, and how much time you would like to execute your loop, 5 times or 6 times, it's your choice. Okay, and now what it will do for you, just you have to use an indentation, and now that's how it's work. If you will use this particular print statement inside the for loop, so it will print your names again and again 5 times. Okay, once the names will increase, it always print along with the statement as well. what I will execute the program. So first of all, when you will execute this program, so along with the num, so the first value inside the num you will find out that will become 0. Okay, when you have used a 5 here, because how much numbers it will return. So first of all, 0, 1, my bad, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a very important thing you have to understand when you have used the range 5 here. So these are the number it will return to you. Okay, but if you're gonna count all the numbers, this is the 3, 4, and the 5. So that's why your loop will execute 5 times. Okay, now this statement will not execute. I have used a hash here. So this is only we have written for to understand. Okay, this is the comment section, right? So let me execute the program and now enter the name. So let me enter the name here randomly. Okay, I will always able to see the name starting from A. So let me enter the name Saranya. Okay, Sandeep, the spelling might be yours. Just look at this. I will either search in and the Manoj. Oops. Okay, I will write to Priya. Oh, that's how it works. So what I have done, so when you have write your one name along with the name, instantly it will give you the result always, because I have write the same statement into the this statement. Okay, so the second time when it will execute this line, so again it will print the two names here. Okay, why? Because again it will append the one name. Okay, this particular statement will execute each and every time when the loop will execute. So that's how each and every time you will get the one increment in your name. So this is a method. And what happens if you're gonna put this statement from outside the loop, only this particular statement will execute 5 times, and this statement only return 1 times your names. Just that's how it works. Python, Ansible, and blah. That's how it will take 5 names from you, but only you have write your statement at 1 time. And now this is a method, guys, how you can simply use the range function. Okay, to understand the range function more, so let's suppose instead of this type of program, let's suppose you like to take a specific number from a user, right? So just move. Let me create one more program, and this program only it will return enter number of names. Okay, or names of the courses what you want to do. So let's suppose first of all you will take a one number from a user. Just you can simply use an n equal to input or either integer. So that's how you can simply use input and enter number of courses. Okay, how much courses you want to do. So I will take a one input from a user. Once a user will give you the number of input, so you will store all the courses into this particular list, and you will take the all number of courses from a user. So for that I'm going to create a one for I in and range, and inside the range I'm going to pass a n value. Okay, the point is instead of printing directly please enter the course, what I would like to do, I would like to give a one pretty statement to the user. Which type of a statement I would like to print here, please enter or enter course 1. Okay, so now the point is what's the challenge I have to, what's the challenge you have to face here. So let's suppose instead of 1, so first of all it will print please enter the course 1, or one second time when you will execute the same function, so it will print please enter the course number 2, enter the course number 3 and 4. Okay, so this particular type of number you like to print each and every time. Okay, and now if you like to print this type of a statement, there's a one challenge you have to face. What will be the challenge you're gonna face here? First of all, just look at this. Okay, so either you can simply take a input courses or either temp input. Okay, and inside the input just you can simply print enter course. Okay, and now the point, if you like to print the number there, right, just you will not be able to use I there. You cannot use a comma there, because if you're going to check out inside the input, just you can simply use the prompt there. Okay, what do you want to prompt? So you will not be able to pass two argument inside the input function. That was the error. Okay, so just let me now just I'm going to execute the program. Just okay, once this line will execute, it will return an error because the input function, and now some of candidates might be confused, this is the raw input you are able to see, because in Python 2 instead of input function we were using a raw input functions to take input from a user. Please don't be confused. This in case of Python 3 that will become input only. Okay, the documentation is still same. So now the point is it will only take a one argument, but you have passed a two number of arguments. Okay, so the point is what I have to do. So instead of using, we have to mention the f string here. If you have remember the f string, so just I can simply mention this method. I can simply remove the value of I can simply put I here. So that's how it works. Let me append the all courses, and now that's it works. There's a only one challenge you wanna face. Now this, I'm gonna execute how much courses you want to execute. Let's suppose I like to enter 4 courses. Okay, and now the point is it will start from 0. Okay, I don't want to start from 0, but what I want to do, I would like to print this type of a statement. Please enter the course 1 until the number 4. But in this case, it will start from 0 to resolve this issue. So just I'm going to use a random values. So just look at this 0, 1, 2, 3. It will not print until 4. So just I can simply define one more thing here. Instead of starting my range n here, just I can simply mention I would like to start my range from 1. Okay, and until, so you can simply mention the n plus 1. So that's how you can simply do. What it will do for you, just look at this. This is the one method. So let me execute. Okay, and now I would like to print 5 number of courses. Just it will take a course number 1 because it will start your range from 1 to 6, and now it will give you the one. If you want to try run this program, so it will return these statement to you. Okay, that's how it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the total, because the user will give you the 5 numbers, because you have mentioned the 6 here. If you want to calculate this particular method, so just I'm going to take 5 courses: Python, ML, AI, and data science, and now that's the Docker. That's how it works. I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 using this method. Or instead of writing your numbers here, the second way to do the same thing, just you can simply use this method as well. You can simply increment your number as well here. So this is a one more method you can simply do. So now this time we'll return numbers from 0, okay, until 4. But what you have done, when you are trying to initialize print the value, there you have added one value. So that's it will do. Number of courses 3, and now course 1, course 2, course 3. That works. Hopefully you understood, guys. So this is a method guy, how you can simply use the range function in case of your for loop statement. Okay. Now the second thing, so let's move forward. So there's one more method to use is sometimes a range function. This is if you are able to see what I have done. So this is the one way to use a range function as well. So I have mentioned the range function here. Inside the range function, just I have mentioned the len function as well. Okay, what it will do for you, instead of using a direct method, what I have done. So when you will use a len function, okay, if you're gonna execute this particular statement alone, standalone, so it will return 3 here, right? Because if you're gonna check out the length of your names, it will become 3. When you will pass a 3 integer inside the range function, what it will return to you? It will return 0, 1, and 2. Okay, it will first of all return 0. After that, it will return 1 and 2. So that's how you are trying to execute this statement. So I am, you are using a list name here, that was a list names, and inside this I'm trying to do the indexing. Okay, and I have mentioned the I here, and now the value of the I will change in each and every statement. So first value you will find out inside the I, that will become 0. That's why it will print the 0 index. After that, it will print the 1 index and the 2 index, and most of the time you have used this method in case of pandas as well, if you like to execute in case of matrix, in case of numpy as well. Okay, so that's how it works. So what I have done, just I have initialized a len function inside the range function. This particular function, when you will execute, it will return 3. Either you can verify these things, just look at this. When you have mentioned 3 inside the range function, it will return 0, 1, 2. That's how you would be able to execute the different index each and every time. Okay, that's how it's worked, guys. So okay, so multiple doubts. That's good. Yeah, minus, yeah, you can also get the negative range as well using these methods. Okay, if you like to use a negative range, then you can simply use a negative number as well. Okay, you can simply use a one negative step differencer as well. So there's a multiple method, there's a multiple type of parameters you can simply pass inside the range. And now the one more method to understand, then the next we have to discuss about the for loop with else. Okay, so to understand for loop with else, just you have to understand the break statement as well. The for right now, just we can skip this particular part. We will discuss this statement. Okay, once we will understand the break as well. Just not to worry about this statement. Just write it before right now. Okay, we will discuss this statement once we will understand the loop controller. For right now, we can skip that part. Okay, I will cover this part later, not to worry. And now this is how the for loops work in case of Python. Now we have to understand the while concept. Okay, so where we're gonna use a while loop in case of Python programming. So in case of while loop, okay, how we would be able to understand where we have to use the while concept. So let's take an example. Sometimes let's suppose in case of if you are trying to log in your if you are trying to log in your computer, okay, if you are using a Windows operating system or a Linux operating system, I'm not talking about the Android, right? Because in Android, if you are trying to log in with a wrong password at 3 to 5 times, so it will block for 30 seconds. Okay, if you're going to retry again, it will block for 1 minute. Okay, so that was a different logic for the authentication. If you're going to check out, if you're going to log in case of your normal Windows operating system, so there's a there's a no limitations, right? Default, there's a no limitations how much times you can simply try to log in your operating system. Either if you are trying to log in into a Wi-Fi, this we can simply try multiple times into a Wi-Fi. Okay, if you're gonna type wrong password again and again, so it will again prompt a password from you. Please enter the password again until you will not enter the right or correct password. So the point is, in case of for loop, okay, you know very well how much time how much time your execution, how much time your statement will be executed in case of for loop. But in case of while loop, your statement will be execute at a specific your exec my bad. So your statement will execute as a specific number of times until your text expression will become true. So the point to understand this, in case of for loop, your statement was executing once your sequence will not finish. Okay, how much number of elements you have in your sequence, so that specific number of times your statement will execute. But in case of while loop, your statement will execute until the sequence, until the text expression is true. Okay, because along with the while concept, you have to mention a one text expression, and once the expression is true, it will execute your loop. Once the expression is false, so it will terminate your loop on that point. This is a syntax to understand, or here, instead of text expression, just you have to mention a condition here. Okay, until the condition is true, your loop will execute. Once the condition becomes false, your loop will be terminated. So that's how you can simply understand the while loop in Python is used to iterate over a block for as long as the text expression condition is true. And once the condition becomes false, it will exit the loop. Just understand the flow chart, guys. And now this is a flow chart. Text expression. So first of all, you have to check the text expression. Okay, so what expression? Expression could be anything. A greater than 10. Okay, the password is equivalent to the database what you have stored inside the database in the previous program what I have done. So the expression could be anything. The point is, first of all, if the expression is true, just look at this. So it will execute the body of file, what you have written inside the body of file. Again, it will check the expression. If the expression is again true, it will execute the body of while again. Okay, you can do the increment as well. That's your choice, what you want to use here. If the expression will become false, so on that point your loop will be exit. So that's how the while loop is worked in case of Python. Okay, until the expression is true, you would be able to execute your body. Once the expression is become false, you will get false, and now the loop will terminate. So let me clear the notation, and let's move forward to the concept. Okay, so to understand this, so let me take in one example. So I'm gonna mention a one number here. Inside the number, I'm gonna mention 10. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna use the same syntax while. I'm gonna use a one condition while a is less than 20, and just let me know this is a true or false statement, right? If you're gonna check it out, this is a true statement. Just look at this. A is less than 20, and why? Because you have mentioned, you have initialized the 10 inside the A, and now that's become true, right? Once, until this particular expression will become true, just you can simply, what you are trying to do, You can do anything. Either you can simply print the value of a as well. It's your choice. And this is a loop what I have created here. When I'm gonna execute this loop, so how much time this loop will execute? Just let me know into the chat box. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, how much number it will print when you're gonna execute this loop? Okay, infinite. That's no, yeah, that your loop will be executed infinite times because you are not changing the value of a. Just try to understand the logic behind the program. When it will print the value of a, okay, just the expression was true, right? Again, when it will check the same condition, okay, because you didn't change the value of a, I didn't mention the incremental, I didn't mention any increment or decrement operator, right? So it will execute in finite time. Just look at this. Your loop will execute until it will not infinite, right? So that's how it works. Now the point is, if excuse me, okay, hopefully I'm back. My bad. So I'm audible. Yeah, let me I'm gonna repeat, don't worry. So what I have done, just try to understand the concept, guys. So I have initialized inside the 10, and now when you will test the same condition again and again, because you don't change the value of a. If you will not change the value of a, so how this condition will become false? Because this is a very pretty simple statement. This condition is always true, right? What happen if I'm gonna give a one increment inside the a, and what increment I'm gonna use? My bad, this is not an operator I can use in Python, but I can use this operator, right? A plus equal to 1. So what it will do for you, when you will execute this statement, okay, first time this statement will true, right? It will print the value of a, you will get the 10. And now the value of the a will become 11, right? So it will execute again, and now the still the condition is true because the value is 11. It's not 10 right now. So it will execute until it will become 19. And now when it will become 20, it will print the values 19 here. And now when the value of a will become 20, so this condition will become false. Okay, on that point your loop will terminate and you will not get the 20th here. So that's how the while loop concept is work. Okay, so when it will become false, once the value of the a will become 20, and then it will not print the value again because the condition will become false. So that's why you will not get the 20 here. Either you can mention this operator, and now what happened when you want to mention this operator, now the last value it will give you the 20. After the 20 it will not anything. So that's how the while loop is work. Okay, and you can mention this type of concept multiple times, okay, and we're gonna use this type of concept. So just for practice yourself, guys, you have to use while loop, where you're gonna use a while loop. So just in the previous program, in yesterday session, in the earlier session, what we have done, just we have created one authentication program, right? And inside the same program, just you have to try to execute, you have to mention the while loop there, okay, and you will take a password from a user until the user will not be able to authenticate. Okay, if a user will give you the wrong password again and again, just you have to prompt again and again, please you enter the password again. And once the user is successfully authenticated, just you can simply terminate your loop. So that's a one test program you can simply create in your task. Okay, now the second thing to understand the concept of while. So let's suppose this is another example. So using the while method, you can also create the number of sums, just what I have done using the for loop as well. So you will find out the multiple task as well. Okay, you can simply do along with the while loop as well, and you can also do along with the for loop as well. And in this program, what I have done, just look at this. First of all, I have initialized the value, and what value I have initialized. So this is a n, right? And it will take a input from a user. After that, this is a sum 0 and the value of the I is 1. What it will do for you? First of all, it will check the one condition. Okay, inside the I, you know very well that's the one you have initialized. Okay, and now this condition what it will depend what condition you have typed inside the here. Let's suppose took an example, user will give you the 10. Okay, just try to example. Or either user will give you the 5. One user will give you the 5, just try to assume this condition. Now this condition will become when 1 is less than equal 5. Just let me know this is true, right? When this condition is true, so it will add the value of the I inside the sum. But instead of using this operator, I can simply use this one. It will always add the value of the I inside the sum, and right now the value of the I will become 1. Okay, this is just try to dry run. I'm trying to execute, and now once it will do for you, so it will add the value of the I as well. It will give the 1 increment, and this is a 1 update counter I have used. So it will add 1 each and every time inside the I. Second time loop execute, so the value of the I will become 2. The condition is still true. It will add 2 inside the same thing. Now it will become 3. Okay, it will give the 1 more and counter. So now it will become 3 and 4, and now it will become 5 as well until the condition is true. And once now it will update the counter, it will become 6, and 1 it will become 6. So your loop will not, the condition is not true, your loop will terminate on that point. So that's how it works. Okay, so until when the loop will terminate, it will print the value of the sum what we have mentioned. Now I may execute 10, just look at the 56. Okay, so that's how it works. It will add all the numbers what we have mentioned. Okay, so this is a method, guys. Oh, now that's 0, my bad, I have it a 1. Now 10, because the sum of the 10 numbers is 55, that's now you will get the 55 here. So that's it works. Now to understand the while concept as well, so there's a one more program I would like to execute here. Let's suppose you want to take a multiple username from a user, okay, or either you want to take a multiple courses name from a user. There's no limitations, but the limitation is when a user will enter the exit, okay, your program should be exit there, okay, until the user will not mention the exit inside the statement. Your loop will be execute, okay, again and again at infinite times until the user will not give you the exit. So that type of program. So let's suppose took an example. What I'm gonna do, just I will mention the while. Okay, so just try to understand this concept, user input. Okay, and now this is a normal what I have defined in one empty string, right? And just let me know this condition, guys, this condition is true or false. What I'm gonna mention, so while user, okay, not equal x. So just let me know this condition is true or false right now inside the chat box. This condition is true or false. When I have used a not equal operator, just you have to understand this operator as well. Okay, this condition is true. Why? Because when you're gonna check out the condition user input, okay, why what you have mentioned inside the user input, that was an empty string, right? And I have mentioned a not equal operator, because if you want to mention the exit here, now this condition will become false because both the variable is equal. So that's how I have used a one basic condition. Okay, and now if I'm going to use a double equal here, this condition is false right now. When I have mentioned the not equal, this is a true condition until you will not mention the exit inside the user statement. And in the next statement, what I'm going to do, so I will take a user input from a user, enter names. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, just if you have a store your all names, and that's how you will mention your, instead of using this names dot append user input. So this is a method, and now this is a program, and now this program execute in infinite times until you will not mention the exit. Okay, it will execute. If you want to mention the empty as well, it will not exit, it will execute again and again. Just look at this, you can mention any name here, courses, okay, until you will not mention in your statement. So once I have typed the exit here, so what does it mean? It will exit your program. So that's how it works. At the end of this program, you can simply print the value of name as well if you want to print, if it's your requirement. So just look at this, Ansible, Python, ML, AI, DS, okay, algo, and the just it's enough. I can simply mention the exit here. Now it will exit at that point. And now just look at this. This is a one example. It will store all programs until the user will not exit. Okay. But sometimes if you don't want to mention the exit in case of your list as well, there's a one more condition you can simply apply here. Before append the objects, just you can simply neglect if the value of the user input, okay, is equal to the exit, or if not equal to the exit, this is a one way you can simply use, okay, then it will append, otherwise no. So that's how now it will not append the exit inside the list as well. Just mention the multiple values, Python ML blah 123 space. You can type anything because I have used only input function, right? Exit, just look at this, it will not mention the exit because this condition is not true. Just it will check the condition and the final condition will become false. That's how you will get the result. Okay, so now if you have any doubt, just let me know inside the chat box, and now you have 5 minutes for your doubt session. After that, I'm going to wrap up this session. Okay, and we have left some part. Okay, the same concept, while loop using the else. Before understanding this concept, we have to understand the loop control as well. Okay, and we will discuss about the loop controller in next session. So, okay, if you're going to do some testing as well, just let me show you what result you're going to expecting if you're going to use a different type of method inside the range function. So let me open the shell Python 3, and now what you are trying to do, if you're going to mention the minus, right, inside the 10. So what it will do for you, first of all, just look at this, but it will not, first of all, if you are trying to use this type of function. So let me mention inside the list, and now just it will give you the empty list. Why? Because if you are trying to fetch in negative numbers, so you have to mention the value as well. What type of value? So I want minus 10, okay, and the last value, what do you want? Let's suppose I want until 0, and what's the difference you're gonna use? My bad. So that's how it works, and you will get the values minus 10 to minus 1. So always you have to mention the difference on the endpoint if you want to fetch the values in negative as well. So that's how it works. Okay. So hopefully you got the idea who I mentioned their doubts. No doubt. Okay, so then let me wrap up the session, guys. Okay, see you in next session. Goodbye.